Headline earnings per share down 14% for the period, revenue down 9%. You do point out, though, in the commentary that you have been helped by your geographical diversity and also your multidisciplinary approach. Interestingly, Willie, you do remain conservative about the outlook for the company, but not quite as conservative as some of the other companies we've chatted to, and you are seeming to see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel.
I believe there are still opportunities out there. The fact that we are so diversified in our disciplines and there are already established growth projects which we know of in South Africa in the private sector and also outside South Africa, we are a bit optimistic about the company going forward, and we believe there's a definite market. We see that from Stefanutti's stock side that we gradually gaining market share. And yeah, I think it's not that negative for us.
Well, that may be the case, Willie. I mean, when it comes to growing your order book specifically, especially in the building segment, to what extent is there more of a reliance now on those smaller projects as opposed to the big one? And does that bring into question the quality of your order book moving forward?
Yes, on the building side, we've managed to maintain the order book for the last year and a half. And where we actually do get some benefit is by working outside the country, where we do get awards, especially in countries like Mozambique, Botswana, Malawi, Swaziland, and we do get better returns in those areas.
Billy, we had PPC yesterday saying that the construction sector was suffering its worst recession in 40 years. Would you agree with that? Are times as tough as we're hearing from PPC?
I must say, over the last 6 months, we've been through some challenging times. We've seen contract cancellation, postponements, funding issues. But as I said earlier on, there are still opportunities around. And I think if you look at you find them, you box right. Yes, we see opportunity. We've grown the order book from February this year by about 10%, from 6.2 to 6.8, and we are still waiting on a number of projects that we believe that will be awarded to us going forward in the immediate future.
When it comes to sussing out those opportunities, I mean, how has that affected your business as a whole? Because we know that looking back about 3 years ago, about 30% of your work was on roads and 70% on earthworks, and there seems to be a changing of dynamic within the business itself in search of those opportunities you've highlighted.
Yes, we thought that the roads and earthworks business unit will grow a lot better this year. I don't think it has. The top line growth will be similar to what it was in February this year. Going forward, we do see great opportunities on the road side, but currently we're operating within the private sector and mining sector, and we find also some good opportunities in that space.
Willie, you have an ungeared balance sheet, 1.1 billion rand in the bank, market cap of 2 billion, that's cash of about 50% of your market cap. You've maintained the dividend cover. Would you consider a share buyback, or are you waiting for an acquisition?
Francois, we have bought back some of our shares. We're looking at some acquisitions, but it's not really very big acquisitions. They're purely acquisitions to enhance our business units in areas where we believe we can enter into niche markets and where we do see growth. The cash came down a little bit from 1.36 months ago to 1.1 billion now. And that's purely because we found that clients do pay much later. We do not find projects, or very few projects rather, where there are upfront payments. So yes, we're actually protecting the cash at the moment.
Willie, you talked about your project pipeline and also some of the tenders you're expecting to come through. Are we looking at the public or private space here? Because there is some concern that public spending just isn't kicking off, particularly infrastructure spending.
The growth we see going forward, at least for the next 12 to 18 months, will be from mainly the commodity sector and private sector. We have been awarded a number of projects within South Africa and also across border on the mineral side. And we see some good growth on that side. We're also quite busy with some budget estimates for mining clients, and it appears that they're quite active. We also believe that from the indications that what they share with us is that maybe a year or a year and a half from now, there could be good growth from the mining side.
Well, Francois, from your perspective, I mean, how are you viewing a player like Stefanutti stocks? Of course, we've seen players within the industry coming under pressure, so it's certainly not alone, and drawing clear emphasis or putting clear emphasis on the fact that we're not seeing infrastructure spend coming through as aggressively as one had anticipated, and delays in payments as well. And that would naturally affect a cash flow in a business like this, and a business that is highly capital intensive.
Well, Alicia, a portfolio manager and the market looks forward 12 to 18 months. So when you evaluate a business, in this case, you have to look 12 to 18 months forward. Personally, I think most of the bad news is already priced into the sector, especially a company like Stefanutti is trading on a forward PE of about 6 times, and they've got a very strong balance sheet, working on very good contracts. As you've seen, the order book has actually increased, and I've got no concerns about the quality of the order book. They're well diversified, especially into Africa. So in the construction sector, this is one of my favorite companies.
Well, Willie, talk to us about public-private partnerships, because you do highlight in the commentary that despite Treasury's intention to spend about 27.5 billion rand on public-private partnerships over the next 3 years, very little of this has found its way into the public domain so far.
Well, that's true. Well, I think the one thing that has come to the market is the Winelands Toll Road now that the tender was submitted. The next one, it will be the Wild Coast public PPP that's from Sanral. Otherwise, it's been very quiet. Like most government work, very little is happening there. But I think if they can just get their act together, there's some great opportunity for this country and for construction from government sector. But that's probably going to take a while. But public PPPs at the moment, they're fairly quiet.
In the meantime, you've got quite a focus on extending your footprint even further on the continent. Talk us through strides being made there beyond just Mozambique, Swaziland, Botswana, Zambia and Angola, where you're currently holding a presence.
Yes, we've recently awarded some work in Sierra Leone. Then we're also looking at the DRC, and also East African bloc, and Tanzania, Nairobi, Uganda. That is part of our focus going forward over the next 3 years.
Willie, prospects for the second half of the financial year?
Yeah, I think the second half, a number of the projects that have been delayed in awards, they've come through now. We believe that we will see some growth in top line for the next 6 months. And yes, we're looking forward to another challenging 12 months, but we believe there are some opportunities.
Talk us through some of the competition that you're facing, because as the pie gets smaller and competition gets increasingly intense, I mean, we are seeing a heightening of competition for even those small projects. So run us through how you're navigating around the current playing field.
Well, the competition is extremely tough, and I think what one needs to look at is, in a way, some alternative ways to give the client some options. Look at the quality of the product that you do produce, and I think over the last number of years, the Stefanutti Stocks brand is coming through stronger and stronger. And that's not just in our logo and in our name, but it's also in the way we conduct ourselves and we do business with clients. We certainly see that we do get a lot of repeat business from clients, and also in some instances, we do get work from being in second or third position. And that is quite a strong point for us.
Well, you talked about clients not paying as quickly as they previously did. Cash generated from your operations, 386 million down. That's to 115 million rand. Are you facing pressure on cash flows at this stage?
Cash has come down, and we can definitely see that clients are paying later. But at this stage, the fact that it's come down, it's not that we're in panic stage. We also have a lot of our cash tied up in joint venture arrangements, and some of our cash is still in our over-border operations in dollars.